At the heart of Africa's path toward sustainable and inclusive development, evaluation stands as a sovereign instrument of public action, guiding decision-making, improving governance, and ensuring that each policy choice delivers a tangible improvement in people's lives. In November 2025, the African Parliamentarians Network on Development Evaluation, APNODE, will convene its 10th annual general meeting, graciously hosted by the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco in Leon. This gathering will bring together parliamentarians, policymakers, and partners from across the continent to celebrate a decade of advancing evidence-based governance. APNODE's core objective is to provide a forum for parliamentarians and parliaments in Africa to make use of, and advocate for, development evaluation to promote development effectiveness and inclusive growth on the African continent. Since its creation in 2014, APNODE has united parliamentarians, experts, and development partners around a shared vision to make evaluation a cornerstone of transparent, accountable, and effective governance. Over the past decade, the network has cultivated a culture of accountability, peer learning, and evidence-based policymaking, empowering leaders to transform knowledge into meaningful action. The 10th annual general meeting is more than a commemoration, it is a call to renew political commitment, strengthen partnerships, and define the next phase of Africa's journey in development evaluation. This year's theme is APNODE, a leveraging tool for improving public policy evaluation for inclusive governance. The AGM will underscore how evaluation forges vital connections among institutions, civil society, and academia, ensuring that every policy is transparent, inclusive, and results-oriented. Leon will serve as a hub for dialogue, reflection, and innovation, bringing together African parliamentarians, development partners, and experts to share experience, adopt forward-looking strategies, and elect the next APNODE Executive Committee. As APNODE marks this milestone, the 10th annual general meeting will showcase the transformative impact of its regional and continental outreach, from peer learning initiatives to collaboration with regional organizations and development partners. These alliances continue to strengthen the bridge between evidence and decision-making, ensuring that evaluation informs policies that truly serve citizens. Participants will engage in a strategic session designed to foster stronger synergies among institutions, emphasizing the importance of collaboration, coherence, and capacity building to advance evaluation practice across the continent. Beyond its formal sessions, the annual general meeting will honor a spirit of community and a shared commitment to evidence-based governance. It will provide a unique platform for new and returning members to connect, exchange experiences, and renew their collective commitment to an Africa where accountability and continuous learning inspire lasting progress. Looking ahead, the meeting will also outline prospective directions for the new Strategic Plan 2026-2030, building on a decade of achievement and setting a confident course for a stronger and more connected Africa. In Leon, we renew our collective pledge to place evaluation at the very heart of Africa's development vision as a cornerstone for strengthening transparency, deepening inclusion, and achieving the sustainable progress to which the peoples of the continent aspire.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor for me to kickstart the proceedings of this 10th General Assembly of APNODE, which is our continental assembly or network for the evaluation of developments. Before we start our proceedings, it gives me great pleasure to give you a little bit the context in which we hold in our assembly today. This framework, once I have shared with you its context, I will start the debate with a number of key figures that will join me here so that they can shed light on our discussions based on their respective expertise and experiences as far as evaluation of public policies and developments are concerned on our continent. In fact, 20 years ago, We met as Africans, but it was done only rarely to discuss evaluation. Today, the needs of our populations have pressing needs, and therefore the need to ensure accountability is a necessity today, and our populations require this now. Therefore, it is important to recall certain facts in order to lay the framework for our discussions. This means that 20 years ago, Africans did not really address the question of evaluation. If there was any evaluation in our countries, that is because our partners, economic and financial partners, asked for that. But as resources become rarer and the needs are growing with the growing population in our countries, it is necessary today to make sure that we decide on how to use our resources. Therefore, budget allocation is very important, and therefore today we are making decisions based on evidence and specific data, reliable data, and there are several sources for that. There are administrative data that we can use to inform decision making. We have statistics as well that we can leverage. There is also the results of research work that can be leveraged to make decisions. But since we are meeting within the framework of this APNODE session, there are evaluation data that can be leveraged and built upon to make decisions. I'll give you just three key facts. The organization, the CSOs have already been working and have progress as far as the executive branch is concerned. Since the AFRIA meeting in Yaoundé, AFRIA is an NGO that engages directly into the evaluation, and therefore MPs who in 2014 joined the movement created the network that we are celebrating today, and that is the framework and the network that we work within. Therefore, our governments have created the organization called Twendembele. In Swahili, it means let's make progress forward together. 3 African countries launched that movement: South Africa, Uganda, and Benin. Today, we have 10 African states that are members: Ghana, Niger, Malawi, Kenya, Côte d'Ivoire, and others. This is simply to tell you that the world and the African continent are changing regarding this question of accountability and the optimal use of resources that are dwindling, whereas populations are increasing as well as the needs. Why have APNODE? 20 years ago, we had evaluations, but as of 2007, 2008, a number of African states decided to institutionalize the practice of evaluation based on developing national evaluation systems. From then on, the whole situation changed. We have moved from the management of evaluation to the promotion of a function of evaluation within our public institutions. And when we talk about the function of evaluation, there are several implications involved. I like the image of the African dwelling that is based on 3 pillars. The 3 pillars can be illustrated by the governments. Second one is the parliament, and the third one is civil society. Therefore, for these three pillars to enable the actual use and efficient use of evaluation, we need to kindle that fire, and to have fire you need the wood, and the wood that we need for that fire is the competences that we put within that in order to make sure that this practice of evaluation is important, and that the spark that starts that fire are the different partners, whether there are financial partners or evaluation partners, and therefore institutionalizing the evaluation is a necessity. And it will be an even greater necessity going forward. Why? Because the population is on the rise, the needs as well, and the resources are becoming scarce and scarcer. Therefore, we have to make sure that we make the proper choices for the population in terms of programs, in terms of public policy, and in terms of plans that we will be implementing. Therefore, APNODE is not just a movement, it is a necessity as far as management and accountability and the rational use of resources, and therefore that is a duty towards our citizens. I will stop here. Simply to say that evaluation today on the African continent calls for measures that should be coherent, better structured, instead of being just being disparate actions here and there that undertaken by such and such institution. And that is where the importance of the network and of evaluation becomes really important, so that we can come up with the right laws, adopt the good laws that make it possible for the budget allocations to be done properly and in a rational way. As you know, MPs have three missions, essential missions. One is representation. They represent the citizens. The second mission for the MPs is to adopt laws, to make legislation in order to organize society. And the third one, and which is just as important, is the monitoring of government action. How do you monitor that action if you do not have the necessary information? And that information, we get it from different sources that I mentioned earlier, but more so from evaluation. That is why we are meeting today to discuss this. And in order to start that debate, I will invite a number of eminent figures. I will start with Mr. Mohammed Ould al-Rashid, President of the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco. Then I will invite also the Honorable Jeremy Adomau, President of the African Parliamentarians Network for Development Assessment Evaluation, APNODE. I also invite Mrs. Edwin Lamini, representative of the Senate of the Kingdom of Eswatini. I invite Mr. Abdou Mustadwi, President of the Assembly of the Union of the Comoros. I call on Mr. Salomon Gema Ono, Speaker of the Parliament in Equatorial Guinea. I ask Mrs. Zineb El Adawi, First President of the Court of Auditors of the Kingdom of Morocco. I invite Mr. Nizar Baraka, Minister of Equipment and Water, Kingdom of Morocco. I call on Mr. Karim Zidane to join us. He's Minister Delegate to the Head of Government in charge of Investment, Convergence and Public Policy Evaluation, Kingdom of Morocco. Mr. Omar Hajira, Secretary of State to the Ministry of Industry and External Trade. And lastly, Mr. Abi Ben Brahim, Secretary of State to the Minister for the Ministry in charge of Urban Development in the Kingdom of Morocco. As you can see, as I said, we have eminent figures with us here who have different ranges of competences and skills that will be with us for this morning in order to address the question of evaluation and the production of reliable data and how we use that data in order to inform the preparation of our public policies and projects, and also to tell us as key eminent figures how evaluation can help us to promote this question of evaluation of development to make sure that our continent can have a benefit from harmonious development. I will ask respectfully Mr. Ahmed Mohammed Wald al-Rashid, President of the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco, to share with us his experience on this question. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, distinguished President of the African Parliamentarians Network for Development Evaluation, ladies and gentlemen, presidents of speakers of African parliamentary chambers, ministers and secretaries of state, Honorable First President of the Court of Accounts, distinguished Governor of the Laayoune Saqi Al Hamra region, Honorable President of Laayoune Saqi Al Hamra Regional Council, Honorable President of Laayoune Municipal Council, members of parliaments, presidents and members of local governments and professional chambers, Honorable Secretaries General, heads and representatives of public, semi-public and private institutions, ambassadors, distinguished ambassadors and members of the diplomatic corps, honorable experts, academics, representatives of the media and civil society, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco, it gives me pleasure to welcome you all to the city of Laayoune for this 10th Annual General Assembly of the African Parliamentarians Network for Development Evaluation. Your high-level African parliamentary presence reflects a shared, sincere commitment to strengthening African cooperation and advancing governance and sustainable development on our continent. Ladies and gentlemen, development evaluation has today become a strategic pillar for guiding public decision-making, given the evolution of the tools, methodologies, and international standards in this field, particularly those adopted by the Development Assistance Committee of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. In addition to this evolution, evaluation is no longer limited to measuring outcomes or monitoring implementation indicators. It now extends to examining the relevance of policies, their alignment with national priorities and citizens' needs, the coherence of their choices, the effectiveness of interventions, and the efficiency of resource use, in addition to assessing their actual impact and the sustainability of results. With that in mind, and given the growing awareness of evaluation as a cornerstone of public decision-making, the need to entrench a culture of evaluation in Africa is emerging today as more strongly than ever. This is a development necessity, especially in the context of widening development gaps, persistent challenges related to achieving sustainable development goals, and the increasing importance of prudent resource management to ensure that spending. The need is further reinforced by the ambitions expressed by African countries through the various planning and development frameworks, whether through national poverty reduction strategies, new development models, or the African Union's Agenda 2063. Ladies and gentlemen, strengthening African parliamentary cooperation in the field of development evaluation lies at the heart of the approach adopted by the Kingdom of Morocco in its relation with the continent, an approach based on enhancing joint action and fostering partnerships rooted in mutual benefit and respect for national priorities. Consistent with that vision and in line with the high instructions of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, may God assist him, Morocco has adopted an integrated policy that places the enhancement of African capacities on a strategic path, whether through support for regional initiatives or through economic and social projects that promote integration and open wider prospects for South-South cooperation. In keeping with this Africa-oriented approach, the convening of this assembly in Morocco, here at the heart of the southern provinces, carries special significance. Our discussion on development evaluation finds in this region a tangible and concrete illustration, an example of what development policies can yield when they are built upon a strategic vision and supported by rigorous tools for monitoring and evaluation. The major structuring projects underway in the southern cities, such as the diverse network of ports, including the Dakhla Atlantic Port and the Fos-Boukra Port in New York, the new Fos-Boukra Port in Laayoune, major road networks like the Tizni-Dakhla Expressway, renewable energy and green hydrogen projects, and large-scale seawater desalination plants, all strengthen the region's position and open broad prospects for sustainable development. This dynamic is further reinforced by the strategic initiatives launched by His Majesty King Mohammed VI, may God assist him, such as the Atlantic Africa Initiative and the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. These are not just structural investments, they reflect a comprehensive continental vision of development as a shared African project grounded in continuous evaluation and linking local impact with continental ambition. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that this gathering will serve as an opportunity to lay the foundations of a parliamentary evaluation culture built upon three interconnected pillars that reflect the legislative, organizational, and societal dimensions of evaluation. The first pillar concerns institutionalizing the evaluation of function. For this evaluation to be fully effective, an advanced legislative framework must be established, one that strengthens the legal foundation, supporting evaluation, and promotes best practices in evidence-based policymaking. In this regard, African parliaments can play a pioneering role through legislative initiatives that ensure a favorable environment for policy evaluation, including by requiring governments or relevant public institutions to conduct periodic evaluations. This is an approach similar to that of Morocco, where the Investment Charter Framework Law requires regular assessments of the effectiveness of support mechanisms. However, putting in place a legal framework alone is not sufficient. It must be accompanied by a cultural shift that embeds evaluation within the entire cycle of public policy, informing choices during preparation, serving as a reference for monitoring, adjustment, and implementation, and framing results assessments at the outcome stage. Only then can evaluation become a lever for institutional modernization, improved policy mechanisms, and greater trust between citizens and institutions. The second pillar relates to organizational structures and capacity building. Institutionalizing evaluation requires the creation of specialized parliamentary units equipped with qualified human resources and the means necessary to ensure scientific and methodological independence, operating under clear standards aligned with international best practices. In this regard, strengthening investment in parliamentary intelligence is essential, whether in analytical skills or technical, social, or territorial competencies, as it constitutes a direct investment in the quality of public decision-making and the legitimacy of parliamentary action and in citizens' trust in their institutions. The third pillar lies in making evaluation a shared and open space for society as a whole. Parliamentary evaluation cannot remain confined to internal institutional practice. It must draw upon the expertise of civil society, academia, and various actors, thereby enhancing its impact and linking its conclusions to real-world needs and citizens' actual experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I wish to thank you for being with us today and for your commitments. I hope this session will be a milestone in APNODE's journey, and that it will lead to fruitful debates, exchanges of perspectives, and the formulation of practical recommendations that can enhance the role of evaluation and put it at the heart of African public policies. Let us work together to make development evaluation a guarantee of effective policies that meet the aspirations of our peoples. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le.
Thank you so much, Chair. Following the intervention of Mr. President, I call upon Mr. Jeremy Nadeau. Mr. Mohammed Ould Rashid, President of the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco, Mr. Abdou Mostadouane, President of the Parliament of the Union of Comoros, Mr. Salomo Nguema, Speaker of the General Assembly of Equatorial Guinea, Mrs. Zineb El Adawi, First President of the House of Accounts, Mr. Nizar Baraka, Minister for the Equipment of Water, Mr. Karim Zidane, appointed Minister to the Head of Government tasked with investment, convergence, and the evaluation of public policies, Mr. Ejira, Secretary to the Minister of Industry and Foreign Trade, Mr. El Haraj, Secretary to the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Rural Development, Water and Forestry, Mr. Ayash Galaf, General Secretary of the High Commission for Planning, Mr. Abdullah Shouik, Director General of the National Agency for the Promotion of Employment and Skills, Mr. Adil Bai, Director of the Strategy to the Ministry of Transport and Logistics, dear members of the Executive Committee of APNODE, dear MPs, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, all protocols observed. At the outset, I'd like to pay tribute to our Lord God who enabled our gathering. This is the 10th session after 2015, Sudan in 2017, Gabon in 2018, Abidjan in 2019, Rabat in 2022, and Benin in 2024. As we gather within this 10th session, I express a deep feeling of gratitude for your presence in large numbers, for the sincerity of our discussions and our exchanges over this day. And I would like to convey my special thanks to the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco, whose hospitality and generosity have deeply resonated with us. Mr. President, you offered APNODE much more than a working space. You offered us a space for dialogue, fraternity, and Pan-African solidarity. Thank you so much for that. We have a very rich General Assembly for the exchange of ideas and experiences with humility, and where the spirit of African unity will be visible every step of the way. Our network has become, after 10 years of its inception, a large Pan-African family committed to a special cause, the improvement of our public policies, thanks to the use of evidence in decision-making. We have celebrated more than a decade of progress, and we have recalled that evaluation strengthens transparency, governance, and public policy, and brings it closer to the citizens we represent. The outcomes are not few. We can mention a high number of MPs, members of our network, more than 700, coming from more than 29 parliaments. 5 member institutions: Zimbabwe, Morocco, South Sudan, Benin, and Cameroon. And several national chapters, amongst which Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Uganda, South Africa, and Benin. The kickoff of the institutionalization in our parliament, as is the case in Côte d'Ivoire, in Senegal, Morocco, Uganda, South Africa, Ghana, Benin, to name but a few. The setting up of our website to increase our visibility, the participation in several evaluation meetings, the latest being the National Conference on the Capacities of Evaluation, held in 2024 by China in Beijing. And on that occasion, we shared with the whole world the institutionalization of evaluation in our African parliaments, the strengthening of national chapters through knowledge sharing and peer learning, as well as capacity building. This is the progress we have made, and we've come a long way. This was not plain sailing. This was because how little resources were mobilized, and the small-scale adoption of these practices in parliaments, the setting up of tools and strategies for the institutionalization of evaluation in our countries. And we know we can count on the new committee to work in order to overcome this difficulty and meet these challenges over the next months. We also assessed the strategic plan and the functioning of the network, and we kicked off the implementation of recommendations by reviewing our bylaws yesterday in Casablanca. And we have made new commitments, expressed new ambitions, and confirmed our will to build an Africa that is better governed, more inclusive, and more responsible. For me, this assembly has a special dimension because it marks the end of my mandate and that of my executive committee. And I leave the presidency with a feeling of met responsibilities. And I would like to express to you on behalf of the members of the Executive Committee all our gratitude for the trust you entrusted us with. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your spirit of cooperation, for your resolve to advance our network. Today, we write a new chapter and welcome a new Executive Committee, and I wish you every success in your work, every wisdom and strength to further our mission. I know that you'll be able to guide APNODE towards a better future. And this is the opportunity to thank the African Development Bank through IDEV, who accepted to host the Secretariat since our inception and played a special part in the life of our network. And I don't forget other technical and financial partners for their commendable efforts for a better governance in our African countries. Thank you to each and every one of us. Thank you for your presence, for your contributions, and for this great collective impetus that we have been able to build and strengthen over the years. And to conclude, I would like to renew my thanks to the Speaker of the House of Councillors of Morocco for his parliamentary diplomacy and congratulate His Majesty the King Mohammed VI for his enlightened vision of development in Africa and Morocco. Long live the King. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. We shall pursue our agenda. And now, allow me to give the floor to Madame Almi, President of the Senate of the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Your Excellency, the President of the House of Councillors, President of ASSECAA, Mohamed Walid Rashid, APNODE President, Jeremy Ahimadu, Honorable Ministers, Presidents, Speakers of Parliaments, parliamentarians present here, the President of the Regional Council of Laayoune, and also the President of the Communal Council of Laayoune, the Excellencies, the Ambassadors present, distinguished delegates, it is with profound respect and a deep sense of gratitude that I stand today before you, first to honor the esteemed leadership of His Majesty King Mohammed VI. May Almighty God bless him. I bring warm greetings from their Majesties King Mswati III and the Queen Mother from the Kingdom of Eswatini. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to His Excellency, the President of the House of Councillors of Morocco, for the invitation and for the meticulous organization of this well-planned and intentional gathering. Your efforts have created a space that reflects both vision and purpose. Yesterday was a profound expression of Africa's dignified and visionary leadership, a reminder that our continent's purpose is both enduring and unifying. In every voice and action, we witnessed a commitment to development and progress rooted in shared values and aspirations. It was a demonstration of a purpose that binds us together across borders and traditions, affirming that Africa's strength lies not only in its diversity, but in its unity in vision. We congratulate the Kingdom of Morocco for the visit to the major socio-economic development projects in Laayoune. The Kingdom of Eswatini and the Kingdom of Morocco have shared warm and mutually rewarding relations since the formal establishment of diplomatic ties in 1996. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to applaud APNODE for carrying forward its mission with dedication, success, advancing dialogue, strengthening parliamentary networks, and promoting democratic values across our continent. Gathering parliamentarians, policymakers, and partners committed to advancing inclusive governance through the lens of public policy evaluation is invaluable. In Eswatini, as across our continent, the call for governance that is transparent, accountable, participatory, and evidence-based has never been louder. Citizens not only demand to be heard, but to see their voices reflected in the decisions that shape their lives. This is the essence of inclusive governance, and it is the standard to which we must design our systems. We live in a world of a rapid transformation. The pressures of globalization, the urgency of sustainable development, and the expectations of our people compel us to rethink how we govern. Eswatini is one of those countries that has committed itself to such an endeavor. Public policy evaluation provides us with the tools to ask difficult yet necessary questions such as, are our policies achieving their intended goals? Are resources being used efficiently and fairly? Are we delivering equitable outcomes for all citizens, especially the most vulnerable and marginalized groups? Inclusive governance and evaluation therefore means decisions made openly and responsibly, citizens and stakeholders meaningfully involved, fair access to services and opportunities, equal sharing of development benefits, and sensitivity to the marginalized and vulnerable groups. Public policy evaluation strengthens these principles by ensuring that effectiveness, efficiency, relevance, and sustainability are measured, disclosed, and improved upon. It builds trust between government and citizens, and it equips institutions with evidence to adapt, learn, and grow. Eswatini's governance context, our nation operates a dual system of governance, modern institutions alongside traditional leadership. Ministries, parliamentary committees, constituency structures, civil society, and development partners all play a pivotal role. Our national priorities are clear: diversifying our economy, strengthening public sector management, advancing human development and social protection, enhancing financial stewardship. These priorities provide fertile ground for embedding evaluation as a driver of people-centered development. With all that said, we have gaps. Let me be candid. Eswatini faces challenges: the absence of a national evaluation system, the limited stakeholder engagement, particularly of youth, women, and persons with disabilities, technical and human capacity constraints, fragmented data systems, and limited public reporting. These gaps hinder our ability to deliver inclusive governance at the scale our people deserve. Pathways to strengthening evaluation. To address these challenges, we must establish a national evaluation framework to standardize processes and align with best practice. Build institutional capacity through professionalization, training, partnerships with academia and international institutions. APNODE is the right institution for this. We must enhance citizen participation via community scorecards, social audits, and consultative forums at the constituency and chiefdom levels. A few examples of evaluation in practice. In the health sector, data-driven planning has improved HIV and TB program outcomes. In social protection, evaluation of grants and welfare schemes have refined targeting for vulnerable households. In education, school performance reviews have informed resource allocation, especially in underserved rural communities. These examples demonstrate that evaluation, when systematically integrated, enhances inclusiveness and development effectively. Looking forward, Eswatini commits to adopting a national evaluation policy and enhancing evaluation into budgeting and planning, developing a national monitoring and evaluation capacity building program and certification pathways, amongst others. In conclusion, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is imperative to emphasize that evaluation is not merely a technical tool, it is a moral compass. It ensures that governance is not only effective, but equitable. It transforms policies from promises into lived realities. Together, through APNODE, let us champion evaluation as the heartbeat of democratic governance, and let us ensure that no citizen is left behind. I thank you for your kind attention.
Merci bien, Madame Dlamini, pour...
Thank you, Madam, for this message. Now, allow me to respectfully call to the podium Mr. Abdou Moustadrouine, President of the Assembly of the Union of the Comores.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Excellence.
Excellencies, Honorable President of the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco, Mr. Mohamed Ould Rachid, Honorable President of the APNODE Network, Honorable Presidents of Parliament, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Assalamu alaikum. It's a great honor for me to take the floor before this 10th Annual General Assembly of the Network of African Parliaments for the Evaluation of Development, APNODE. On this occasion, allow me to first and foremost express on behalf of my country, the Union of the Comores, and on behalf of the Comorian Parliament that I have the honor of chairing, to express my deep, heartfelt gratitude to His Majesty the King Mohammed VI. May Allah protect him and protect the Kingdom of Morocco, its Parliament, and the Executive Committee of APNODE for the quality of its hospitality and the remarkable organization of this meeting. APNODE has been playing for more than a decade a pivotal role to promote the culture of evaluation within our legislative institutions. The evaluation of public policy is no longer an option. It is a major lever to strengthen transparency, accountability, and the performance of public action. In an African context that is marked by growing challenges, be they security, social, climate-related, or institutional, evaluation ensures that each decision, each program effectively contributes to the enhancement of the well-being of our populations. The theme of this assembly, APNODE, lever for the improvement of the evaluation of public policy for inclusive governance, directly speaks to our parliaments. An inclusive parliament assumes that all voices must be heard, that of women, youth, rural populations, as well as vulnerable people. Our parliamentary institutions must therefore not only hold government accountable, but must also ensure that public policy also factor in the real needs of our citizens. In the Comores, these guidelines given by the emerging development plan set out by the President of the Union of Comores reflects the gradual implementation of citizen consultation mechanism, public hearings, and a strengthened dialogue between Parliament, civil society, and development partners. The Assembly of the Union of the Comores fully shares APNODE's vision. As such, we strive to strengthen our institutional capacities in terms of analysis, monitoring, and evaluation of public policies. In the context of our cooperation with technical and financial partners, we strive for the creation of a parliamentary unit geared to evaluation, which will allow us to better gauge the impact of national laws and programs on the daily life of Comorian citizens. Our ambition is clear: to develop and build a modern parliament that is competent and that is capable of properly assessing and public policy and ensuring that each of these serve as a fair tool to achieve sustainable development. No nation can succeed alone for such a project. I advocate in favor of a closer parliamentarian collaboration, promoting experience sharing, joint training of members of parliament, and the pooling of resources and expertise. APNODE provides this unique framework, that of a network, of a Pan-African network, where knowledge, vision, and experience intersect. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, and by concluding my remarks, by reaffirming the willingness of the Comorian Parliament to continue supporting APNODE's efforts and to promoting within our country and on the entire continent public governance that is based on evaluation, transparency, and inclusion. I hereby express the wish that this 10th General Assembly be a decisive turning point to strengthen the role of African parliaments in the transformation of our societies. Long live the King. Thank you to all of you for your kind attention.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président, pour votre allocation.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your remarks. Allow me to now give the floor to Mr. Salomon Ugema Wono, President of the House our representative from Equatorial Guinea.
Señor Presidente de la Cámara de los Consejeros del Reino de Marruecos, Señor Presidente de la APNODE, señores miembros de la mesa, distinguidos delegados, señoras y señores, se me ha permitido transmitir en primera instancia el saludo de paz que Su Excelencia Obiang-Ndiema Bazoua, Presidente de la República de Guinea Ecuatorial, transmite a Su Majestad el Rey Mohamed VI de la monarquía alauita, que Dios le asista. En nombre de la delegación que me acompaña y del mío propio, y a invitación de su comité.
On behalf of my delegation and in my name proper, and on behalf of the Executive committee of our parliament, I would like to take the floor at this 10th meeting of APNODE to APNODE, this our network of African parliamentarians, and I would like to share with you our ideas and vision regarding the theme of this session. APNODE as a tool for improving the evaluation of public policies in order to ensure full-fledged, comprehensive governance. In fact, this network is particularly important, and it has played major roles in capacity building for the members of parliament as far as evaluation of public policies is concerned, as well as the oversight of government work. We think that the mission carried out by APNODE, by this African Parliamentarians Network, and the focus it lays on capacity building for members of parliament when as they discharge their parliamentary mission, especially oversight that can be improved if we enhance the role of these parliamentary institutions and make them serve as a platform for learning by providing decentralized mechanisms for oversight and follow-up, and to make sure that they cooperate with the African countries as far as evaluation is concerned. In this regard, I think that the network can encourage and promote transparency as well as the collection of data, and promote the exchange of best practices, and also to bring about platforms for greater and enhanced exchange of views as far as public policy development is concerned. We consider that it is also possible to put in place alliances for greater cooperation with other parliamentary platforms and the exchange of expertise as far as public policy is concerned, the aim being to enrich the evaluation methods. Distinguished members of parliament, distinguished participants, the Parliament of Equatorial Guinea attaches great importance to APNODE, given that the network's activities seek to promote the work of African MPs and African parliaments. And I think that we have to continue supporting this network so that it can continue to play its role in full in order to enable our MPs to build on innovative methods as far as evaluation is concerned, and as far as the discharge of their parliamentary mission is concerned. And this should help us to ensure good comprehensive governance, and also standardize parliamentary work, so that our MPs can work together hand in hand for the benefit of the African continent. Before concluding, I would like to congratulate the Kingdom of Morocco on the last resolution of the UN Security Council regarding the autonomy plan in the southern provinces. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This first part of this opening session is coming to a close. We shall now move on to the strategic part with the decision makers. I will now give the floor to another speaker, and this will be Minister Lahsan Haddad, Vice President of the House of Councillors, Kingdom of Morocco, who will be in charge of this technical and operational part of our opening session. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much, Abdullah. Please, a round of applause. Distinguished Speaker of the House of Councillors, honorable speakers of African parliaments, distinguished Wali of the region, Sidi Moulay Ahmed Ould Rashid, distinguished President of APNODE, distinguished President of the region, distinguished First President of the Court of Accounts, distinguished MPs, we shall continue the presentation, the speakers and the remarks of the participants in this opening session on the evaluation of development under the aegis of APNODE. As we said, this is taking place at a time when the evaluation of public policies has become a major pillar, strategic pillar, to promote accountability and governance in Africa. And we shall move on to Mrs. Zainab Adawi, the First President of the Court of Accounts.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, Mr. Mohammed Al-Rashid, Speaker of the House of Councillors, distinguished President of APNODE, distinguished ministers, ambassadors, speakers of African parliaments, distinguished Wali, distinguished President of the region, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. At the outset, may I say how delighted I am to take part in this opening session of the 10th Annual General Assembly of the African Parliamentarians Network for Development Evaluation. I would also like to thank the Speaker of the House of Councillors for his kind invitation to contribute to this event. I want to commend the relevance of the theme chosen for this session, particularly in today's global context and continental context, one that is marked by profound transformations, rapid technological changes, and complex multidimensional challenges that significantly impact the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. This agenda is, and given also the pressing expectations of the citizens, this agenda is crucial for the future of our African continent and the future of our countries, especially our dear African continent, especially in terms of governance, trust building, and establishment of inclusive, equitable, and effective public policies capable of achieving sustainable and positive outcomes for the citizens that should be comprehensive, effective, and inclusive. This is the common responsibility between all of the stakeholders involved in decision-making, including those involved in oversight and evaluation. My remarks will focus, ladies and gentlemen, on three main points. The first one is the general framework of cooperation between the Court of Accounts and Parliament. Second, the evaluation of development policies in the context of the 2030 Agenda. And I will conclude with a third section, sharing some lessons learned, challenges, and future outlook for this field within the international community of supreme audit institutions, SAIs. In this regard, I would like to remind you that the Kingdom of Morocco is host to the African Supreme Audit Institution since July 2017. And the President of the Court of Accounts is the Secretary General of the APNODE. I'd like first to say that the cooperation between the Court of Accounts and Parliament, this cooperation has significantly evolved, especially after the adoption of the 2011 Constitution, which made cooperation between the different branches one of the foundations of Morocco's constitutional system. A major milestone in this regard was the 2016 amendment of the law governing the Court of Accounts, and which strengthened cooperation mechanisms between the Court and Parliament and defined their respective scopes of intervention. As a result, cooperation has become broader, more diversified, and it is continuous throughout the year. Under Article 148 of the Constitution, the Court provides assistance to parliaments in areas related to the oversight of public finance, and it responds to consultations and questions submitted by Parliament regarding legislation, including the role of parliaments as far as legislation, oversight, and evaluation of public financial matters. The Court, since 2013, has received a total of 14 requests for opinions and inquiries on various topics, and for which the Court did respond, and they concern several aspects: youth employment programs, rural education, the national literacy strategy, and other issues. Throughout these missions, the Court has remained committed to maintaining the complementarity of oversight functions, preserving the institutional standing of both bodies, and upholding their shared credibility as far as the role of these institutions are concerned, and also to provide the necessary capabilities, making sure that we take into account quality, and also to, as far as clarity and readability is concerned, we have revisited the way in which we prepare strategies, because we thought that we were writing as technicians for ourselves. Now we know that our outcomes are used and are read and are taken into account when in the relationship between the executive branch and parliaments. I have listened to the speakers of both chambers to see how they read our reports, and we found out that we are not really properly understood, and therefore we can revisit our strategy to make sure that they are easily readable, making sure that we take a similar stand in vis-à-vis the two institutions, making sure that we commit to objectivity and independence. At another level, the Court's cooperation with Parliament includes the submission of its annual report, the presentation of the reports on the execution of the finance law, which is published in the official gazette. And the first president also makes an annual report and the general statement of conformity relating to the budget settlement law. We have to keep in mind that the court has benefited from the evolution in policy design, implementation, and evaluation over the past 2 decades. This has made it possible to bring about the question of development, move the issue of development from the theoretical and ideological debates to practical questions of governance institutions. The oversight institutions have now oriented their work, offering clear goals and targets for assessing the impact of development programs. The 2030 agenda provided countries with an integrated roadmap to orient their work, offering clear goals, and it has helped SAIs to contribute to achieving national development priorities by examining what works, identifying success factors, and encouraging results-based approaches. So we have managed to, it is essential in this regard to create institutional and development conditions to enable the effective evaluation. So beyond strengthening evaluation and accountability functions, it is essential to create the institutional and developmental conditions that enable effective evaluation. We have to make sure that the conditions are met to ensure effective evaluation. Not all policies can be evaluated. We can evaluate only that which is evaluable, and therefore norms have to be taken into consideration. As for the major key priorities included in evaluation in the current African context, I think that among the things that have to be taken into account is fiscal sustainability, and also the questions relating to climate change and energy, and also the partnership, environmental challenges and public-private partnerships in the areas of climate change and energy transition. And also we have to make sure that we take into account green finance, blue economy, and digital economy. Given the low global achievement levels of the SDGs so far, it is crucial to assess the 2015-2025 cycle of the 2030 agenda. And in this regard, we have to draw lessons and align with Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, and the 10-year implementation plan 2024-2033. This calls for new perspectives, positions, and methodologies to enhance the added value of evaluation in public decision making. In this regard, I would like to share with you some trends emerging from the international community of SAIs, particularly in light of commitments made through the INTOSAI and its involvement in the Abu Dhabi Declaration 2016, Moscow Declaration 2019, and Sharm el-Sheikh recently 2025. These emphasize collaboration and the need for INTOSAI to contribute to the collaboration with governments and for the achievement of 2030 agenda. Many SAIs worldwide are now implementing second or next generation strategies aimed at strengthening complementarity with between supreme audits, political oversight, and administrative control while at the same time integrating parliamentary expectations into their strategic management, given that it is one of the key elements as far as strategic management is concerned. Most SAIs have included development-related objectives in their strategic plans, evaluating government readiness for the SDGs, and also assessing coordination mechanisms, monitoring SDG programs, and evaluating systems of monitoring, reporting, and disclosure. Distinguished participants, among the most important observations made by the SIA reports is the coherence of the development policies, and they relate to the following: coherence and alignment between national, regional, and long-term planning documents at a national level. There are three challenges that are important here, and they relate to how we determine the challenges and priorities, and also the principle of taking into account the horizontal and vertical elements concerned in this regard, and also the question of how we can address this question of lack of coherence between the parties. And the second element, and I think that the speaker has already talked about this, is to respect a principle that is important, that is of leaving no one behind. We should not leave anyone behind. We have to make sure that everyone benefits from developments, and this is a key element, and it is important for SAIs to address this question and to see how the government addresses as a key comprehensive element. We have in this regard to take into consideration the economic conditions, the vulnerability, and identifying negatively affected groups, especially the lack of efficiency of certain policies, and to see how we can address this question of negatively affected groups. So the third element is the stakeholder participation in policy design, in the implementation and evaluation of programs. And the SRIs are not simply asked to determine the role of governments. It is also to make sure that there is actual engagement of stakeholders, especially the main ones, and to make sure that the objective conditions are met, given the complex interconnections between the various development projects and the resources available, and therefore the wide variety of the stakeholders. These challenges raise methodological and operational questions requiring further research and the development of professional guidance frameworks, and to see whether our approaches are opportune, are reliable, and to ensure that we do the right thing as far as oversight and evaluation. And this has called for methodological and operational questions that can inform our policy and our decisions. I now move on to another aspect, which deals with the future prospects allowed by artificial intelligence and the fourth industrial revolution. I'm sure that APNODE, your network, is concerned by the unprecedented possibilities offered by the progress as far as AI is concerned and its role in the future of evaluation. And I'm sure that there are also significant challenges in this regard. While AI and big data analysis promise to overcome constraints related to data availability and quality, and allows evaluators to use advanced analytical methods, it will make it possible at the same time to have access to analytical modeling that will make it possible to come up with different systems, and therefore we need to revisit the relationship between evaluation and development, between technology and the objectives sought. Evaluation in the digital age, regardless of the objectives sought, has to combine rigorous practice, and it has to be done in an ethical and responsible way, so that it can be reliable and so that there can be accountability. As my colleagues and friends said earlier, we have to make sure that we develop our methods and tools in order to improve quality and the role it plays in decision-making. Therefore, we need the practitioners on the ground have to work and acquire the necessary for any oversight institution to be able to engage in analytical examination and to address the needs in complex environments and contexts, and make sure that we work together and promote collaborative skills internally and externally, and also to work as a team, and also to make sure that we have the necessary impact at social level, not just for election purposes. We have to work on the long term and make sure that we take ownership of these policy, and make sure that we can also deal with the question of digital illiteracy. I would like, before concluding, as representative of the Court of Auditors of the Kingdom of Morocco, and as Secretary General of the APNODE, I would like to assure you of our determination to serve as a powerhouse for proposals so that we can promote development in our countries and to contribute to greater cooperation and partnership among relevant institutions for the evaluation of development policies at national, regional, and continental levels. And we have at the Court of Auditors of the Kingdom of Morocco, we have a capacity building center that is at your disposal to help all of us to ensure capacity building as far as evaluation of development policies at national, regional, and continental levels. I wish your General Assembly every success, and I hope that you will have the opportunity to see for yourselves the progress, stability, and security that prevail in the Kingdom of Morocco under the leadership of His Majesty King Mohammed VI. May God assist him. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the President of the Court of Accounts for her valuable contribution, in which she mentioned the importance of scrutiny in public policies, but also what the Court of Accounts does to improve outcomes in terms of reporting. She also mentioned the international experience of APNODE especially when it comes to harmonization principles, public policies, in line with domestic objectives so that nobody is left behind, as well as strengthening cooperation. Those were valuable ideas that have been shared with us by Ms. President. And now I give the floor to Mr. Nizar Baraka, Minister for the Equipment and Water Management. You have the floor. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, Mr. President of the House of Councillors, President of the APNODE, Network of African Parliamentarians for Development Evaluation, Excellencies, Ministries, Ambassadors, Mr. Governor of the Laayoune Sakhia Hamra region, Mr. President of the local community of Laayoune Sakhia Hamra, Mr. President of the Communal Council, ladies and gentlemen, speakers of African parliaments, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, MPs, heads of delegations, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of civil society organizations, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It's an honor to be with you on the occasion of the 10th session of the General Assembly of APNODE under the theme the Network of African Parliamentarians, a lever to assess public policies for a holistic and inclusive governance. And here we gather with this in this beautiful city of Laayoune, dear to our hearts. And we gather in these special circumstances that coincide with the 70th anniversary of the independence of our country, as well as the 50th anniversary of the Green March and our commitment to our southern region. This meeting comes in special circumstances where the UN Security Council adopted a historic resolution 2797, which considers the plan of autonomy offered by Morocco under Moroccan sovereignty as the credible and only solution to this fabricated political conflict. Under these circumstances and this historic development, His Majesty the King, may God assist him, called this occasion the celebration of union as a bank holiday. This comes in special circumstances in which we celebrate the 10th anniversary of our development plan for our southern regions, and we deemed appropriate to include this question. This is the outcome of our development model in our southern regions, as agreed upon within our ministry. You're aware that His Majesty the King, may God assist him, called in his address on the 6th of November to strengthen this development model by adopting an inclusive and holistic development model that can be implemented on a larger scale in order to ensure the harmonization of political programs as well as meeting current challenges. A development model that can create wealth and create jobs for our youth. And 10 years on from the kickstart of this development model in the city of Laayoune on the 6th of November 2015, we considered that it was important to review the effectiveness of this development model for the southern provinces. And this requires the evaluation of the implementation of those goals and the meeting of specific goals. The first objective was to double the GDP of those southern provinces. And in this context, it's fair to say that these provinces have managed to double their GDP from 2015 to 2025. The GDP went from more than 939 million dirhams to more than 70,000 million dirhams. So the goal was met. Another objective was to increase the individual income of people living in these provinces, and we can say that in all three regions we have reached a high level of individual income as compared with the national average. The region of Dakhla Wad Dahab reached more than 90,000 dirhams per year, as well as Gilmim Wad Noon with more than 47,000 dirhams annually. Let's remind that nationally the individual income doesn't exceed 34,000 dirhams. So this is a significant improvement. Same thing as regards poverty. The figures went down in the last decade, especially in the Laayoune Sakia Hamra region. So this poverty rate doesn't go over 2.4%, and it doesn't exceed 2.5% nationally. So so nationally we went from a rate that was at 11%. So this was the outcome of the development model for our southern provinces. One of the main pillars of this development model was to improve infrastructure, and here I will quickly go over one of those infrastructure projects, the Tiznit Dakhla Highway, which is a key road which connects the north and south of our kingdom in order to connect with our African neighborhood. And in this context, we built a road, a two-way road over more than 1,000 kilometers, with thousands of jobs created and the mobilizing of 36 Moroccan businesses to achieve this project. This has been one of the key achievements within the development plan. We're also building the Sakia Al Hamra bridge, which is the largest bridge in Morocco, with 1,648 meters long and will be more than 140 meters wide, with significant investment. Let's also mention the Atlantic harbor of Dakhla, which is midway through its completion, with more than 12 million dirhams investment. So this will be a major platform, a major economic hub of development that will allow us to to implement His Majesty's initiative, his Atlantic initiative, which will open new perspectives to develop these regions. This will help neighboring countries to access the Atlantic. It will also pave the way to Sahel countries that will be able to benefit from this harbor, from this infrastructure, and access the Atlantic. This is one of the key aspects of this project. This will be an energy, a commercial port, as well as a port for fisheries. It will also be a logistical harbor for the maintenance and building of ships. It will also foster industrial activities and will also pave the way for exporting towards sub-Saharan Africa, but as well across the Atlantic. Our goal is also to continue the improvement of security and port infrastructure, as mentioned by the President of the House of Councillor, with the Post-Bokra project with more than 6 billion dirham investment. With 93% completion, it will play a key role to develop our supply chain infrastructure. It will also pave the way for the export of fertilizers. All this has been included in our development plan, whose goal was to transform phosphates in this region, and by creating more added value through fertilizers. So this will further develop our value-added efforts in our southern regions. There is also the Terfaya ammonia port in Terfaya, more than 6 million dirhams. OCP is preparing the feasibility study for the design of this harbor, the goal being the export of green ammonia. Thanks to these projects, our country will become a hub for the exporting of green hydrogen, which will be a pillar that will add to the Dakhla harbor. All this comes in parallel with the enlargement of the Layoun harbor, a new fisheries harbor, and the improvement works of the Terfaya harbor is also underway. Let's also mention the Bujdo harbor, which will see the building of a desalination station. When it comes to water management, I'll mention several aspects that have been included in our development plan. The Faska Dam with a 1.5 million dirham cost. This will help protect the Gulmim region in terms of water management. It will also open new prospects in terms of irrigation. We have the Sakhia Hamra Dam project in the Layoun region with 97% completion. So it will see the light of day next year. It will improve our underground water management in the region. It will also help protect the Layoun region from floods with a whole range of small-scale dams, but also artificial lakes in Smara, Sidifni, Gulmim, and several other regions. In the southern part of our kingdom, when we talk about water, it's important to mention saltwater desalination. And these regions have kick-started desalination projects. And this has been allowed by the a recovery of those territories which are dear to our hearts. Let's mention the development of the Bujdur project in 1977, and all these cities witnessed the inception of desalination projects, and now we're seeing a new generation of desalination plants which use wind power and renewable energies. Let's also mention the desalination plant of Laayoune, which will help provide drinking water to people in this region. And next year will be the impetus of a project of food security through the irrigation of more than 5,000 hectares of farming lands. We have been able to reduce the cost of desalination as part of these projects, and we went from more than 50 dirhams to less than 4.5 dirhams. We even reached 4.09 dirhams. This is a significant achievement, a world record, and this was thanks to wind power. This is proof that there is a Moroccan model in terms of water desalination, a model that we can share with our brotherly countries in Africa with these record figures. We will continue work in this area. There are desalination plants which will be strengthened and enlarged here in Laayoune, thanks to all these projects that we kick-started. The desalination plant will be able to produce more than 1 million cubic meters between Tantan and Gulmim, and a convention was signed for its implementation. And this fits within an objective of guaranteeing drinking water to the local communities, but also of guaranteeing food security. And this is being made possible by the use of renewable energies. Let's also mention the security of our southern region. Let's mention the Laayoune program for the protection against floods. And this helps protect other regions such as Tantan, Smara, with several programs that help with that. We also have key projects in terms of wastewater management. We signed several conventions in this area which will help us ensure that we fully benefit from our water resource in irrigation. Let's mention that the projects of Dakhla with conventions in wastewater management to protect our water resources and create new job opportunities. This will help us maintain this key resource, which is water. Ladies and gentlemen, this is but a sample of what has been achieved as part of our development model and what we have achieved in the agribusiness industry, in fisheries, as well as our achievements in housing. I think that the Minister will give you a glimpse into that. Let's also mention the progress made to improve the living conditions of people living in our southern provinces, because the most important goal is to put the human factor at the heart of these programs, while including everyone, youth, women, and every other category.
Thank you, dear Excellencies, for your insightful remarks which have showcased the achievements of the new development model in the provinces of the South, as well as the achievement rate through the indicators you've shared, including the improvement of the GDP, combating poverty, and improvement of infrastructure, be they water-related infrastructure, transportation, as well as other fields, which reflects the great progress achieved through this new development model. Without further ado, allow me to give the floor to the Minister, Karim Nizan, who is the Deputy Minister to the Head of Government in charge of convergence and the assessment evaluation of public policy. In the name of God, the most merciful, may peace be upon the Prophet and his believers. Honorable President of the House of Councillors, Honorable President of the Network of African Parliamentarians on Development Evaluation, Excellency Mr. Wali of the Laayoune Sahel Hamra region, the Mr. President of the Communal Council, the Honorable ladies and gentlemen, dear ambassadors, dear presidents of parliamentarian councils and national assemblies, honorable participants, I have the great pleasure of expressing my pride and joy of being here with all of you on the occasion of the 10th Annual General Assembly of the African Parliamentarians Network on Development Evaluation, held in the city of Laayoune, which holds a special place in the heart of Moroccans and which plays an instrumental role in this shared project. This milestone is most timely, bearing witness to the constant commitment of the Kingdom of Morocco in contributing to the large projects of our country and our continent to achieve sustainable development, convergence, and to preserving peace and stability in accordance to the enlightened vision of His Majesty the King Mohammed VI. May God assist him. It also reflects our willingness to considering South-South cooperation as a fundamental pillar of our continental relations and our kingdom's commitment to pushing forward and to showing its solidarity with all of the African populations. Our assembly is taking place in a context marked by challenges, which compels us to fine-tune our capacities to also take into consideration the voices of citizens, starting with the diagnosis, planning, and evaluation. The challenges that Africa is faced with, be it to reach the national objectives or to achieve continental objectives and goals, in particular those of the 2063 agenda, require the development and establishment of public policy that are capable of having a positive impact on socioeconomic indicators and also capable of improving the living conditions of African citizens. To face this challenge, we must adopt an integrated approach, enabling a gradual implementation of a production system which is based on experience and sharing, as this has been mentioned by His Majesty the King Mohammed VI. May God assist him in his message addressed to the participants to the 4th Conference of African Ministers for Development held in 2023 in Marrakesh. APNODE is
من خلال سعيها إلى تعزيز قدرة البرلمانيين الأفارقة على الرقابة النوعية والمساهمة في صياغة السياسات العمومية والتنموية وتجويد اتخاذ القرار
in the evaluation of public policy. And it also aims to enhance the development process and also reflects the close ties between participative democracy and development. Ladies and gentlemen, aware of the importance of public action and the evaluation and the role played to face the many challenges that the world is facing today, Morocco has therefore improved its governance system since 2013. A whole array of reforms have been implemented to enhance public policy and to introduce public policies that meet the needs of its citizens, thereby strengthening the legal and institutional framework, by modernizing its administration, and also by enabling convergence. In this context, the evaluation policy has been introduced in the government architecture through convergence policies to consolidate evaluations as a major input contributing to enable the achievement of government programs and the new development model for the Kingdom of Morocco. As you all know, ladies and gentlemen, the importance of evaluation is key because it enables the achievement of goals and policies. It also enables the enhancement of government programs and strengthens their flexibility to ensure a material impact on society and the environment. The participation of the various stakeholders in the evaluation system does indeed have a positive impact on the evaluation methodologies, which also strengthens the credibility of the outcomes, but also ensures that this initiative or this practice, a participative one, which strengthens the Sustainable Development Goals. The evaluation of public policy isn't a process which takes place in the aftermath. Not only is it about evaluating short-term goals and objectives, but it also goes by way of the preparation and implementation, and also market studies to ensure the relevance of projects and initiatives and their consistency, and to ensure that they meet the objectives that were set. This is a process which is ongoing and also enables the measurement of their impact in the medium and long term. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of the global competition, it is important to step out of this conventional vision of evaluation as a mere tool of to control expenditure, but should rather be considered as an essential tool to strengthen investment. The evaluation can give impetus to private and public investment, and can also help contribute to the promotion of investments in all across the board. This enables investors to have a framework which is a lot more foreseeable, notably for return on investment and the choice of investments. It's worth mentioning that the new investment reform is also part of the process of the various reforms that Morocco has embarked on over the past 26 years, and which aim to provide an ideal forum for development and for the economy in Morocco. And this is through the development of landmark projects which underpin the development strategy that Morocco has embarked on. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges that our continent is faced with compels us to develop appropriate tools. A cross-cutting evaluation tool to devise more efficient and effective tools and mechanisms. It's also important to step up coordination efforts between the various governments as well as their partners, and by ensuring the sufficient financial resources are earmarked to reach the regional goals and objectives, and to be able to face the various multifaceted shocks and to face the future. It's also important to review our modus operandi to ensure better coordination and consultations underpinned by public policy that are in fact more consistent, coherent. We are convinced that evaluation in African countries is a shared responsibility and also a field of constructive and efficient cooperation among the various stakeholders, be it on the legislative front or governance or control institutions, as well as academia and civil society. Our continent boasts many investment and development opportunities and more than ever needs initiatives and policies that stem from the actual development needs of the continent and that are capable of rising to the challenges that the African continent are faced with, and that are mainly linked to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and economic integration. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you, Honourable Minister. The Honourable Minister has spoken to the main issues that lead to evaluation as a positive sign for investors, given that it provides investors with a decision-making framework, and this enables the governance of investments in light of the various major projects. He also spoke to the cooperation and consultation. These are key ideas that are worth deepening. Allow me, without further ado, to give the floor to Mr. Omar Hashira, Secretary of State for Foreign Trade. You have the floor.
Good morning, peace be upon the Prophet and all his companion, Mr. Speaker of the House, Mr. Speaker of APNODE, distinguished speakers, distinguished ministers, Mrs. President of the Court of Accounts, ambassadors, MPs, Mr. Wali, President of the region, President of the Commune of Laayoune, distinguished gatherings with due respect to all. Representatives of the media, good morning to you all. It's all my pleasure to be attending with you here the proceedings of this 10th General Annual Assembly of APNODE. I'd like also to extend a warm welcome to all members and wishing them a pleasant stay in their second home country, Morocco, and more particularly in this beautiful city, Laayoune, in the southern provinces of Morocco. The topic we are addressing this year is so strategically important and in line with our joint aspirations as to a better future and with more solidarity and aspirations for our African continental world that's witnessing swift changes and multiple challenges occurring at different levels, and the assessment of public policies cannot actually be restricted to administrative formal procedure, but it's a sine qua non condition for making all these objectives come to fruition. This guides our projects towards specific objectives and achievable and measurable objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, the general and world global context is witnessing a paradigm shift. The dialogue is opening up to new regional and alliances and new organized coalitions, and these coalitions have been reinforced, moving from mere political coordination to global economic institutional clusters conducive to affecting public policies and means of implementing them therein. Africa cannot be on the sideline of these developments. Actually, the African Union is a key engine in moving forward with the achievement of the Agenda of 2063, with sketching a clear vision for a continent based on complementarity, economic cooperation between South countries, and also sharing experiences and expertise to further reinforce the position and status of Africa in the global economy. Under the wise leadership of His Majesty Mohammed V, may God assist him, Morocco has been engaging in these dynamics. Over the last 2 decades, different various ambitious strategies and the openness of Moroccan economy has turned our industrial sector a key engine to import and also manufacturing. Huge investments have been undertaken in infrastructures, logistics, renewable energies, and moving forward also and with the competitiveness of our national companies. Morocco has turned into a key player in many areas, including aviation, aeronautics, automotive, thanks to our efficiency and thanks to our productive platform that's so competitive. This development has also covered regional southern provinces where new structuring projects, large-scale projects have been launched so they can actually engage also in this national process, including manufacturing and logistics platforms and huge large-scale projects in agriculture, renewable energies and water desalination, and reinforcing maritime and fisheries industries, in addition to the large project of Atlantic Dakhla port that will further facilitate the access of Sahel countries to the Atlantic. This is conducive to further African synergies because we believe in the fact that developing Africa is a joint responsibility shouldered by us all, and development of our country is dependent also on development of Africa. Morocco has moved forward in so many areas under the wise leadership of His Majesty Mohammed VI, may God assist him. And the commitment of Morocco in seeking the synergy between southern countries will come to fruition by intensifying participation in the free trade zone and also the initiative of Morocco to facilitate access of African countries into the Moroccan market and also sharing expertise and experiences by engaging in mutual beneficial enterprises. So in this line, global trade between Africa and Morocco has seen an increase moving from 37 billion dirhams in 2014 to 56 billion dirhams in 2024, i.e. 49% up. Exports have also significantly increased by 83%. Imports also have substantially increased. After an internal assessment, we have actually underscored good export potentials of Morocco amounting to 120 million dirhams annually, include 120 billion dirhams per year. 12 out of which 12 actually billion dirhams account for African imports. And here in this regard, we have actually a motto of foreign trade to moving forward with development, and many centerpieces have come up here, providing support to SMEs and medium enterprises, and also having insurance for exports. And this insurance system reinforces basically the trade transactions between African countries, on top of which come 15 African countries. Also supporting companies so they can actually increase their turnover in terms of exports to seek further markets, while focusing on the fact that this program needs to cover all regions in Morocco. And we have seen in this regard that 80% of the trade transactions are basically focused in 3 regions. For us to be fair to all regions in terms of exports, we want to cover north, south, center, and east and west. We have come up with this program to have a balance in terms of trade and exports between different regions. One of the pillars in this regard is to shed more light on traditional trade and solidarity-based trade, and also digitalization of foreign trade. And we have a platform that's unified, actually interactive for foreign trade. And we have also conducted an assessment of different FTAs linking Morocco with its different partners. And in line with the royal vision to upgrade actually trade with Africa, the Kingdom of Morocco will be hosting the 2nd edition of the Business Forum in free trade agreement in January in Marrakesh, under the high patronage of His Majesty the King Mohammed VI, may God assist him. And this event will actually constitute another station for interaction and exchange with African partners, so that they can get to know opportunities we have in Africa, and so can also explore new venues for partnership and for reinforcement of chain values. And in this regard, we'd like again to call upon you to speed processes conducive to exploring this space, this special space that will further enhance and increase the figures in terms of exchanges. This event will definitely, in Marrakesh, will definitely enrich our exchanges and views so we can come up with concrete solutions to implement fully this free trade agreement for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, all these initiatives testify to the fact that public policy evaluation is an inevitable fact of life and tool. And in this regard, APNODE represents a key area for exchange of views and expertise and best practices, and also to enhance and come up with new areas for parliaments to assess public policies. And when MPs are very in good mastery of tools of valuation, that will be a real investment in the future of the continent for us to have good governance over all sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I'd like once again to underscore that the future of our continent lies in unifying all our efforts and joint vision for us to have a prosperous future. I wish you all the best with the proceedings of your annual General Assembly, and I hope that the proceedings will result in concrete, realistic recommendations conducive to enhancement of the capacity of parliaments to evaluate public policies so we can actually have the best for our populations. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for your presentation that has actually spanned many issues, including foreign trade with Africa and the support that Morocco has been extending to support trade, and also the developments we have seen in terms of exchanges between Morocco and Africa. Now we'll move on to the next presentation of Mr. Adib Ben Brahim, Secretary of State for Urbanization and Policy of the City. Good morning to you all. Mr. Speaker of the House of Councillors, Mr. Speaker of or President of APNODE, Your Excellencies, Ministers, Excellencies Ambassadors, Mrs. President of the Audit Court, Excellencies MPs, Mr. Wali of the region, Mr. President of the region, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor once again to extend to you our thanks, and I'd like to tell you how happy I am to be with you here today. It is also my pleasure I'd like to say how pleased I am to be here with you today, and it's also my pleasure to say how pleased I am to be participating in this 10th assembly of APNODE. I would like also, by the same token, to extend to His Majesty King Mohammed VI, may God assist him, our thanks and all forms of expression of loyalty, and also commend His Majesty on the initiation of the UN resolution for Moroccan sovereignty. This is a very important initiative calling for good sovereignty and good governance, reinforcing the role of participation of the population of the South to manage their own affairs under full Moroccan sovereignty. And this renews once again how efficient and how relevant this the position of Morocco has been. Along the same lines, this resolution, UN resolution, is once again reaffirmation of the relevance and the righteousness of the vision of His Majesty and the status and the position of Morocco in the international community, thanks to the wise leadership of His Majesty the King Mohammed, God assist him. Ladies and gentlemen, attention attached by His Majesty the King to the issue of housing and urban development has been gaining momentum. Among all the projects that we've been seeing in Morocco. This significance has put it on same level with other governments actually initiated based on good governance to curb all forms of imbalances among territories and to meet the different challenges by adopting an exhaustive, comprehensive initiative in terms of urbanization and housing, so we can have fair distribution and balance. In this regard, enhancing housing and providing actually housing for dignity, and maintain dignity of people, and also designing advanced policies in terms of urbanization seeks to make our cities have a policy and a landscape that's in line with the vision of the state. And that's what we've been working in our ministry. Here I'd like to recall that the Kingdom of Morocco, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, has made big advances towards building the social welfare state by adopting a number of programs, including slums-free cities and the new program on providing direct support and subsidies to housing between 2024 and 2028. Our ministry actually on urbanization has been pursuing this, seeking to renew the approach relating to subsidies about housing, renewing the approach for subsidies to support the purchasing power of families by providing direct financial assistance for dwellers who wish to buy houses. This will enable limited income families to acquire main house, achieving basic dignity requirements. Ladies and gentlemen, along the line of this development process initiated by His Majesty the King and alongside with the social dynamics initiated by His Majesty in the southern provinces, our ministry has provided funding for many houses and housing programs in the southern provinces as part of fighting slums. And that includes various phases, the program of Return and Unity, dating back to 2002, seeking to provide the basic needs for the local populations in southern provinces about different plots and houses, and an overall budget has been allocated around 1,072 million dirhams. After that, we had the new program for housing and urbanization that has been validated by the Advisory Council for Sahara Affairs. It spans 2007-2015, and this is one of the key projects for the local population in the south. In view of the huge investments, where about over 3 billion dirhams have been allocated to this program to fight all indecent slums, including different camps, and also building a real estate basis to address different needs, and also intensify the real estate offering in line with the current needs of the local population, with new prospects for increasing urbanization. We also have rehabilitation schemes, and we have actually funded different schemes in this regard between 2016 and 2021, amounting to 78 billion dirhams. Many other agreements have been signed alongside with these programs, and the overall budget of our ministry here amounted to 1,130 million dirhams. And the main objective is to rehabilitate and restructure the districts missing basic services. In terms of policies of the city, enhancing basic infrastructure and also enhancing attractiveness of the urban circles, We've had interventions on strategic avenues where we have rehabilitated road networks and also instilling public lighting and also instilling some green spaces conducive to the betterment of the lifestyle of our population. This testifies to the commitment of our ministry seeking overall and fair distribution and attractiveness of our southern province. In this regard, the ministry played a key role in 40 projects with overall budget of around 4 billion dirhams. And the breakdown shows the following. In Gulmim Wadnoun, 28 projects. La'ayun Saqi al-Hamel region, we have 10 projects. Overall budget, 1 billion dirhams. And Dakhla Wadab region, 2 projects of 1 billion dirhams. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure again to renew the commitment of Morocco, steadfast commitment to have an integrated, fair distribution of development under the wise leadership of His Majesty Mohammed VI, may God assist him. Structuring project in urbanization, housing and policy of the state launched in our southern provinces in different regions of Morocco represent today an exemplary model for fairness and distribution and good development. This cumulative experience has reinforced the task of our country as a key player in maintaining African cooperation. We'd like to grab this opportunity again to commend the joint will of our countries to work jointly to meet the various urban challenges and territorial challenges that our countries have been going through, like the creeping urbanization and the need to guarantee decent housing, and also the capacity of our countries to meet various climate changes. For that matter, we would like to underscore once again need for South cooperation in line with the wise leadership of His Majesty, based on joint experience and sharing experiences. In this regard, we have signed a number of agreements with brotherly and friendly countries, and our ministry actually remains open to avail its expertise to different brotherly and friendly countries in terms of urban planning or development of low-cost housing, and also reinforcing on building the capacities of cities for resilient transitions in terms of climate. We are confident that sharing experiences and capacity building and building the capacities of and competencies of different stakeholders will be conducive to further reinforcing our resilient and attractive capacities to meet the needs of the future. So jointly we can envision more resilient cities, and for a better understanding, better environments conducive to responding to the needs of our population. May God assist us to go along the lines and the aspiration of His Majesty the King. May God assist him, and thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for this presentation that has addressed the major achievements made as far as housing is concerned, especially in the southern provinces. I now move on to the African parliamentary institutions, the partners of APNODE, and I will give the floor now to Gilbert Bangana, who is a member of the Economic and Social Council from the Republic of Benin. You have the floor, Mr. Bangana. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker of the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco, distinguished President of APNODE, dear senators, MPs, speakers, distinguished ministers, distinguished ambassadors, thank you very much for the opportunity offered to us on behalf of the Economic and Social Council in Benin. I would like to extend my sincere thanks on behalf of my president. Cameroon has lost its president of its council, and our president has attended the funerals. He would have been here with us had it not been for that. I would like to thank the president of APNODE, Mr. Amadou, my fellow citizen. I'd like to thank the Speaker of the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco for having invited the Economic and Social Council of Benin to participate in this assembly. On behalf of my colleagues, I would like to extend our sincere thanks. We are determined, and I'm sure that we will not have an opportunity to do it afterwards. We would like to congratulate the outgoing executive committee, congratulate as well the new executive committee, because I think we will not have the opportunity to do it. I would like to congratulate them right now. Distinguished members of parliament, distinguished senators, members of APNODE, evaluation is no longer a matter of just one institution. It's a matter that concerns all of the continent, and the Economic and Social Council of Benin, following the reforms that were courageous reforms introduced by our government in all sectors, has made the Economic and Social Council a council which serves as a link between the citizens and the institutions. In this regard, we are at the crossroads of evaluation and accountability. In that sense, we are, and that is why we are participating here, and we feel very comfortable. We think that the Economic and Social Council of Benin will always stand by APNODE, the network of parliamentarians on development evaluation. A new term is starting with ambitions, promises, but also challenges and opportunities. And I think that this will give us the opportunity to continue the work already achieved, and also to innovate and to seek higher ambitions, reinforce our capacities, and have an even greater impact. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, evaluation of development today is more than ever a strategic lever for improved governance, transparency, and increased impact of public policies, and also to answer and respond to the expectations of the citizens. As an institution, our parliament has a major role to play in terms of giving a new impetus to the result-oriented approaches on behalf of the citizens, and also to improve the living conditions of the citizens on a daily basis. Your new term of office, therefore, should be a term of office that is oriented towards action and partnerships. I have no doubts in my mind that you will rise to our expectations. In Benin, we are convinced that economic and social development of our continent requires greater accountability and assessment of outcomes. By rising fully to your mandate and responsibility, you will give substance to a specific vision, that of an African Parliament that is more efficient and closer to the citizens, and thus you will contribute to showing that evaluation is not just a technical tool, it is an instrument that can be conducive to transformation and efficient leadership. Under the aegis of His Excellency President Patrice Tama of the Republic of Benin has committed itself to sustainable growth and development. As part of that policy, the work of such institution is important to make sure that we can valorize local work and also promote the participation of everyone to development. The Economic and Social Council of Benin, in keeping with its mission to promote dialogue, consultation, intends to play its role in full as a catalyst of public policy and public service, and therefore our participation is fully in line with this mission, that is to listen, to analyze, and to recommend courses of action that can have a positive influence on public policy developments. It is in that spirit of partnership and of trust that we can build an Africa that creates value and wealth without excluding any segments, that produces without destroying, and that shares without dividing. And therefore, I would like to reiterate the commitment of the Economic and Social Council of Benin to work alongside the governments, the National Assembly, and the private sector, as well as local governments and civil society, to promote and consolidate this network, namely APNODE. I can assure you that the Council will attach all the importance needed, and on behalf of all my colleagues attending this General Assembly, I would like to wish you a fruitful assembly and a fruitful term, and hope that you will make major accomplishments for Africa. And before concluding, I would like to thank all the organizing committee, the House of Councillors, and all those who have worked tirelessly to make sure that this event is a successful one. We would like to thank you for the generous hospitality extended to us. Morocco is a welcoming land, and I would like to thank you for that. Long live evaluation in favor of peoples, of development in general. Long live the Economic and Social Council of Benin. Long live Benin. Long live the Kingdom of Morocco. Thank you for your attention.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bangina, for this, for your remarks on for your wise words on evaluation, which is merely a technical tool, but a vector for development and leadership. Allow me to give the floor to Madame Jane Musumba, who is the head of Division of Independent Evaluation at the African Development Bank. Over to you, Madam.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, honorable speakers of parliament, national assemblies, and senate, honorable members of parliament, esteemed partners, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. It is a great pleasure and honor to deliver these opening remarks on behalf of Independent Development Evaluation at the African Development Bank. Allow me to extend warm greetings from IDE's management and staff, and to express our sincere appreciation for the opportunity to once again stand alongside APNODE in advancing the culture of evaluation across our continent. Let me begin by acknowledging with deep gratitude the chairperson of the House of Councillors, His Excellency Mohamed Ould Rashid, and the Kingdom of Morocco for their generosity and gracious hospitality in hosting this 10th annual general meeting of APNODE. Our thanks also goes to the APNODE Executive Committee and all those whose tireless efforts have made this important gathering possible. APNODE and IDEV share a deep and enduring partnership anchored in common vision: the promotion of evidence-based decision-making and the use of evaluation for accountability and learning, for greater development effectiveness and inclusive growth in Africa. Since its creation in 2014, APNODE has become a vital platform connecting parliamentarians, evaluators, and development practitioners across our continent. For IDEV, APNODE is more than a platform. It is a strategic ally in championing the institutionalization of evaluation in African countries. We believe that evaluation is not simply a technical exercise. It is a powerful tool for better and more inclusive governance, for transparency, and for accountability. The FDB, through IDEV, remains committed to supporting APNODE's mission because we recognize a simple truth. That is, strong parliaments mean stronger governance, accountability to citizens, and better development results. Evaluation is a cornerstone for that strength. Over the years, APNODE and its members have made commendable progress in promoting the culture of evaluation across the continent. Many parliamentarians or parliaments now acknowledge the importance of evidence-based oversight, lawmaking, budgeting, and representation. Several countries have introduced evaluation principles into constitutions, legal frameworks, and parliamentary practice. Capacity building, advocacy, and peer learning efforts have all helped raise awareness and strengthening the ability of parliamentarians to demand, use, and engage with evaluation evidence for the benefit of the people they represent. Despite these advances, much more remains to be done to fully institutionalize evaluation in governance systems. Demand for credible, impartial evidence is still uneven, as are resources for evaluation. Institutional capacities differ widely, and evaluation is not yet systematically embedded in policy and budget processes. The potential of evaluation to enhance transparency, accountability, learning, development effectiveness, and benefits for the citizen is significant, but it has yet to be fully realized. Parliamentarians remain important to driving this agenda forward. By approving budgets and consistently requesting, commissioning, and using evaluation findings in their daily work, they reinforce accountability to citizens and ensure that public resources are deployed efficiently, effectively, and equitably. and respond to people's real needs and aspirations. APNODE's continued work in sensitization, capacity development, advocacy, knowledge and experience sharing, and peer support will be vital in accelerating progress and embedding evaluation more firmly into public policy and decision-making across Africa. This year, AGMs carry special significance as APNODE marks its 11th year of existence under the theme APNODE, a leveraging tool for improving public policy evaluation for inclusive governance. So this gathering serves both as a celebration of progress and a moment for reflection. Over the past decade, APNODE has expanded its reach across the continent, strengthened its governance structures, and forged partnership with key organizations such as AFRIA, the CLEAR Centers Francophone and Anglophone Africa, UNFPA, UNICEF, and Twendembele. It has also empowered parliamentarians to champion evaluation in their national context by introducing evaluation into constitutions and laws, and by ensuring that oversight, lawmaking, and budgeting are informed by evidence and that policymaking is inclusive and accountable. So these accomplishments speaks to the network's vitality and the collective dedication of its members. They remind us that APNODE has become not only a platform for dialogue, but also a movement for change, one that places evaluation at the heart of good governance in Africa. This 10th annual general meeting is particularly important for several reasons. First, it provides the opportunity to review and evaluate APNODE's strategic plan and business model, allowing members to reflect on achievements, identify lessons, and shape the direction for the years ahead. Second, and of particular relevance to IDEV at the African Development Bank, this AGM has considered proposed amendments to APNODE's constitution. These amendments carry significant implication for the network's future governance and operational model, including the arrangements for managing and supporting the APNODE Secretariat. For more than a decade, IDEV has hosted and operationalized the Secretariat, investing significant human, financial, and in-kind resources and providing capacity and institutional support that have enabled APNODE to grow into a credible and influential continental network. The decisions emerging from this AGM, therefore, have direct bearing not only on APNODE's internal governance, but also on IDEV's future role. As I indicated during the discussion on the constitutional amendments, some of the changes adopted may require IDEV to reconsider its role as host of APNODE Secretariat and its support for the network. It is important that the measures taken to implement the amendment be grounded in realism, given their operational, financial, and strategic consequences for the network's sustainability. In short, this AGM is not only about looking back, it is also about forward-looking decisions that will influence APNODE's trajectory and redefine the partnership arrangements that have supported it since its creation. It marks a pivotal moment for strengthening the network's capacity to champion the institutionalization of evaluation across Africa. So on behalf of IDEV and the African Development Bank, I would like to express our profound appreciation to all those who continue to support and sustain APNODE's mission of supporting parliamentarians in Africa to make use of and advocate for evaluation in order to promote development effectiveness and inclusive growth on the African continent. To all individual and institutional members, thank you for your commitment and engagement. To all our development partners, Thank you for your collaboration and your belief in the power of evaluation to improve lives. To the parliaments present here today, thank you for your leadership in making evaluation a priority in national governance. And to the dedicated staff and organizing teams, we are deeply grateful for your professionalism and hard work. Your efforts remind us that partnership, perseverance, and shared purpose are the core of the APNODE's success. As APNODE enters its next decade, we stand at an important stage, a moment to reaffirm our shared commitment to evaluation, evidence-based policymaking, and inclusive governance. Let us continue to champion evaluation as an instrument for transformation. Let us ensure that evaluation is not only practiced, but it is institutionalized, not only discussed, but demanded, and not only valued, but used to improve the lives of African citizens. IDEV remains a steadfast partner on this journey, ready to support the building of evaluation capacity, sharing knowledge, fostering partnerships, and amplifying the voices of parliamentarians who believe in the power of evidence to shape futures. So together, we can continue to make evaluation a living force for accountability, learning, and development effectiveness on our continent. I wish you all productive deliberation and a successful AGM. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Musumba, for this very important note about IDEV and the support you are giving to APNODE, and all for the sake of accountability and oversight, and also supporting the changes that are happening in APNODE as a platform of change and dialogue. إذن أجدد شكري لجميع المتدخلين في هذه الجلسة رفيعة المستوى على مداخلتهم القيمة التي أسهمت بشكل نوعي.
For their precious contributions that have thereby contributed to enriching our dialogue on the evaluation of development and the strengthening of mechanisms in Africa. Without further ado, let's proceed to the next item on our agenda, which is the signing of the framework agreement between the House of Councillors of the Kingdom of Morocco and the APNODE network. This agreement aims to build institutional and legislative and technical capabilities of African parliamentarians in the area of monitoring and evaluation of public policy, in accordance with a shared vision which aims for a convergence of the legislative roles to foster development. This signing of this agreement enshrines the partnership between the House of Councillors and APNODE. And allow me to mention the contribution of the Parliament of Equatorial Guinea and of the Comores. This initiative bears witness to the shared willingness of our countries to consolidate the diplomatic ties and bilateral ties and multilateralism to ensure that parliamentarians' work is a means to strengthen partnerships amongst parliaments and hence push forward in promoting the shared interests of our peoples. I have the great honor of calling Mr. Mohamed Ould Rashid, the President of the House of Councillors, Mr. Jérémy Adomaro, President of APNODE, to sign this cooperation agreement. Kindly give them a round of applause.
هذه الاتفاقيات
This agreement aims to consolidate institutional, legislative, and technical capabilities of African parliaments in the areas of monitoring, evaluation, and oversight of public policies, in accordance with a shared vision which aims to strengthen the role of these institutions.
Merci, monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremy Adumaho. Allow me to call the President of the House of Councillors to stay by our side. I would now like to call Madame Lindevere Lamidi, the President of the Senate of Eswatini.
So this is a memorandum of agreement between the House of Councillors in Morocco and the Senate in the Kingdom of Eswatini. It's also a symbol of the deep relations between the two kingdoms and also the partnership between its parliaments, especially between the House of Councillors and the Moroccan Senate. تفضلوا معنا السيد الوالي معهم هنا تفضلوا.
Honorable Wali, if you could kindly join them on stage.
Thank you. Shukran. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker of the Senate of Eswatini. Maintenant, je vais appeler Monsieur Moustadrouan.
Allow me to call Mr. Istadwan Abdou, who is the President of the National Assembly of the Union of Comores, of the Comores Islands. Signing an MOU enshrining a partnership between both chambers, the National Assembly of the Comores
Mehdi. مهدي مهدي Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mehdi. Allow me to now call Mr. Wano Solomon, President of the Parliament of Equatorial Guinea. Mr. President of the National Assembly,
إذن هذه مذكرة
This is a memorandum of understanding between the Speaker of the National Assembly of the Equatorial Guinea and the Speaker of the House of Councillors in order to ensure capacity building in the area of evaluation of public policies and also as far as accountability is concerned. This is an important memorandum of understanding. It draws up a roadmap for future cooperation between the two chambers.
تحت تصفيقاتكم.
A round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. We shall now move on to a family photo for the members of APNODE. Then there will be a coffee break and there will be an important thematic session that will start, and after that we shall move on to lunch, and then there will be an APNODE session afterwards, that is after lunch. So a family photo followed by a coffee break, and then we come back for an important working session. Thank you.